Greetings. In a recent article, Forbes announced the world had reached nearly $500 quadrillion in wealth. How is that possible? In this episode of the Financial Tens, we'll explore 10 secrets of banking like the ultra-rich. At Bank & Bond, we believe you should bank on you and create a bond between you, your heirs, and your assets that will grant you and them lifelong financial freedom. The Financial Tens weekly countdown will enhance your ability to create, grow, and pass down generational wealth. Bank & Bond is the premier private estate literacy initiative. Now to number 1 on our countdown. Commit to financial independence. The first secret of banking like the ultra-rich is you have to have a plan. The way they deal with finances is tremendously purposeful. A plan is always preceded by the decision to make the necessary commitment to carry out said plan. Whether it's losing weight, constructing a home, or building wealth, it's imperative to determine what needs to be done to bring your plan to fruition. Honoring that commitment is what puts everything in motion. Further, you need to understand that commitment is a key motivator when it comes to changing the trajectory of your financial life. If you have to write a personal contract to yourself, do it. You may recall in episode 2, I mentioned how John D. Rockefeller used to count his money down to the half a cent. Writing goals down impresses the subconscious mind and makes you more likely to carry them out. Number 2, infuse your finances with intention. Okay, I know this sounds metaphysical, but this is an important strategy when it comes to banking like the ultra-rich. They are very intent on staying ahead of the money game. It's a true fact that what you pay attention to grows. This goes hand in hand with number 1. Once you have a goal or a plan, it's imperative to operate with a high level of intention, meaning you are focused, determined, and don't allow yourself to easily go off course. Finding creative ways to remind yourself of your intended financial outcome can go a long way towards helping you realize your goals. When your objectives are infused with intention, it makes attaining success more likely. Your resolve is stronger, and you're better able to rise above challenges that may ensue along the way. Challenges are good, by the way. They encourage you to sharpen your financial skill set, so be prepared to learn. When you're your own banker, like the majority of the ultra-rich, you are constantly evaluating what to do with your money. You'll need to maintain a strong level of intention should you decide to do what we discuss next. Number 3, employ the bank elimination stratagem. Despite the plethora of information out there, many people don't understand that you shouldn't keep large sums of money in the bank. Instead, you could utilize any number of cash equivalents like T-bills, money market funds, commercial paper, and marketable securities. When you leave cash sitting idle at the bank, first of all, it's being steadily eaten away by inflation. Second, you may not be using your money, but the bank is. Unbeknownst to you, without your knowledge or approval, they furnish loans to businesses and other people who are putting that money to work earning more money. By self-banking like the ultra-rich do, you can recapture opportunity cost of 20 to 30%, which can increase your wealth substantially. Opportunity cost is defined as the loss of potential gain from other alternatives when some other alternative is chosen. So when idle cash is sitting in the bank, it represents an opportunity cost in terms of lost interest those funds could be earning were they in one of the aforementioned cash equivalents or some other investments. Number 4, wholeheartedly embrace whole life insurance. Whole life insurance policies are the cornerstone of self-banking like the ultra-rich. If set up and utilized properly, this type of policy can supercharge your net worth. Imagine if you take out a loan and buy a home, or for whatever reason you get a bank loan. 1/3 or 30% of what you're paying for is interest and fees. How much better would your financial outlook be if you were able to make use of those funds to finance a business or invest in an emerging cryptocurrency, or even to invest in one of the numerous index funds available? Just so you can wrap your head around what a huge impact that 30% can have, if you have a couple who earns $10 million combined over a 30-year period, this includes their salaries of $100,000 per year with annual income increases of 3% and compound interest. After having to give up nearly 40% in taxes, plus lifestyle expenses and debt service, by the end of that 30-year period, they are left with just $200,000 give or take, and this doesn't even include the cost of sending their kids to college. So endeavoring to find a way to keep your assets in-house, so to speak, is one of the key strategies to building and ensuring generational wealth and also banking like the ultra-rich. Number 5, creating a family office. With an increasing number of the masses quickly adding more zeros to their net worth due to the evolution in new technologies and other entrepreneurial pursuits, it's worthwhile to set your sights on creating a family office for wealth management. Now, family offices are a unique solution for managing the assets of affluent families or parties known as HNWIs, which stands for high net worth individuals. These private wealth management advisory firms are usually structured as an LLP or LLC and are required to be registered with the SEC unless they can get an exemption. You're required to have a net worth of at least $100 million, and some suggest that you need at least $250 million in net worth. You may be thinking you'll never amass that amount of money in this lifetime. Perhaps you don't want to, but just by making up your mind that it's a possibility and taking massive financial action towards that goal, you will get further than if you have small aspirations. Number 6, build and bolster a business. Moguls are known for saying it's impossible to build financial independence while working for someone else. It's understandable to become overwhelmed with the notion of striking out on your own, but it's more conceivable if you start laying the groundwork for self-banking in combination with other strategies available for increasing income streams and giving yourself a financial cushion for unplanned emergencies. There are an abundance of options available, like the 28-year-old who's making $100,000 a month blogging. If you subscribe to our YouTube channel and you receive our daily market report, we reported that the creator of Spanx, who started her company with just $5,000 in savings, just received a valuation of $1.2 billion after her deal with BlackRock. Number 7, seize the opportunity inherent in crypto. As I mentioned before, multiple zeros are being added to individuals' net worth, and new technologies like crypto are a huge part of the reason why. In a recent interview with CNBC, Goldman Sachs global head of private wealth Mina Flynn revealed that 15% of the family offices are investing 1 to 3% of their portfolios in crypto. They're doing so very prudently as a hedge against inflation. For a family office with, say, $250 million in assets under management, this means they're willing to risk $2.5 million to $7.5 million in this burgeoning technology. The ultra-rich are in the position they're in because of generational family wealth and being a step ahead when it comes to innovation of any kind. So it's useful to model their movements, albeit on a smaller scale, while you fortify your own portfolio. Number 8, take aim at interest and taxes. Another key aspect of the self-banking stratagem of the ultra-rich is doing all you can to pay interest to yourself instead of financial institutions and to legally minimize taxes. Whether you borrow from others or from yourself, aka the insurance company via your whole life insurance policy, you aren't required to pay taxes on that loan. Of course, it's vital to be prudent in what you do with the funds you take from your whole life insurance policy. It's a core principle that you utilize those funds in vehicles that ward off your tax liability. Number 9, make great use of cash flow, capital, and credit. On my first day in finance class, before asking us anything else, the professor posed the question, what are the 3 most important elements in a successful business? After multiple guesses by the class, he said the 3 answers are, number 1, cash flow, number 2, cash flow, number 3, you guessed it, cash flow. If I were a person who speaks loudly, I would scream for you just to exemplify the level of exclamation. But you get my point. He tested us, quizzed us, and reminded us repeatedly that cash flow supersedes everything, even marketing and management. Until this point, my classmates and I didn't understand how you could have millions of dollars in sales but go out of business if you have a large number of accounts due in 30 days, while you have customers who don't have to pay you for 90 days or more. Being savvy about the use of cash flow, capital, and credit is critical when it comes to taking advantage of investment opportunities that may arise at a moment's notice. And remember, when we say cash, we mean cash equivalents. Case in point, singer Jessica Simpson's firm With You Inc. is currently in the process of buying back her name for $65 million from now bankrupt Sequential Brands Group Inc. She was the sole bidder, allowing her to gain back licensing rights to her moniker after Sequential Brands went broke, despite racking up an impressive $443 million in assets. The company, however, owes $435 million to creditors, and their revenue is still falling due to both the pandemic and licensing deals. And we're at the end. Time to wrap it all up with number 10. The 10th secret of banking like the ultra-rich is commit to compounding. In the beginning, we spoke about committing to financial independence. Another central component is allowing money to compound. I was first introduced to this concept in Marco Haraldson's book, How to Wake Up the Financial Genius Inside You. Many have borrowed and paraphrased the story since then. I don't know if that little chart showing how 1 cent can turn into nearly $340 million in just 35 days using compound interest originated with him, but I do know its sagacity has captivated people for decades. There were 5 million new millionaires in 2020 and nearly 500 new billionaires according to Forbes during this pandemic. While it may seem unfathomable, between the years 2020 and 2021, personal wealth grew globally to nearly $500 quadrillion. That's quadrillion with a Q. Yes, we now stand at $400 trillion in personal wealth. Of course, there are disparities in who gained that wealth, but the encouraging trend that seems to be developing is the number of people boldly going out on their own and being determined to get their piece of the pie. Some of the ultra-rich started at nearly zero, so can you. Thank you for tuning in to Bank and Bond TV for this episode of the Financial 10's Weekly Countdown. This is your host, Erica Honey, signing off. A biento.
New episodes are released every Sunday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in America and 4 a.m. Monday morning in Paris, France. If you're new to keeping tabs on market news, make sure to subscribe so you get our 1-minute daily market report each weekday at the close of trade at the New York Stock Exchange. Bank and Bond also does breaking news segments about major events in the world of finance.